In today's video, Eric and I sit down with John and Spencer from North Idaho Experience Custom Homes. We're going to dive into the building process here in Idaho. We're going to talk about finding the right land, running utilities, things to look out for when you're choosing that land, septic process, the build process from the foundation up through framing, because that's where we're at on my house currently. We're going to share a lot of examples from my own build and Eric's own build that North Idaho Experience Custom Homes are building for us. This video, we're going to follow this up with a series of podcasts that continue the building process through as we continue on my own build, so that we can talk about what that looks like for you guys. In the next episode, for sure going to cover barn dominiums. I know that's a big question a lot of people have out there. And the rest of the building process from framing all the way up through the finished product. That'll help you guys stay informed, especially if you're thinking about doing a build up here in North Idaho. There are a lot of factors to consider. It's important to have the right builder. So we're looking to give you guys as much information as possible and be our true authentic selves in the process. So enjoy and stay tuned for the next episodes as well.
Eric
Do you
Boardman.
appreciate the beard is coming back? Thank you.
Yes,
for that.
dude. It looks
You need to get a beard, bro.
Hey, bro, we had a listener out there comment on here. He's like, "Man, I love you guys. I listen to all your stuff." And he's
we
like,
recording right now?
Eric, yeah. He's like, Eric, Seth, and Dave, dude. I love listening to you guys. Eric, you have to grow your beard back. You look like Shrek, but I still love you. I was like, that was
That's
pretty
how we
funny.
knew he was our people.
Do I need to
like,
filter what I say right now?
No.
Are you sure?
I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Potential
I don't know
clients
that
are
I'd
gonna
drop
listen to it.
the hard R.
Then I'll stop.
I don't know that I'd drop the hard R.
No,
Dude.
no, like,
Oh,
no, like,
jeez.
I can't even
the
talk.
rails.
Yeah, you can. You're fine. All
Relax,
right. Hey,
relax.
here's the deal. Today we're going to start going through some of the building process. We've got our builders with us. My partner Eric's with us, and then we've got Spencer and John from North Idaho Experience Custom Homes, and they are building my home. They're building Eric's shop. They're doing work at Dave's house, and a bunch of other projects are going already. So I wanted to follow up with some of the videos we've been putting out about the build process and let you into their brains a little bit more. I know that's a risky thing to do, the way you're looking at me right now, bro. And there's whiskey on the table, and there might be some nicotine. So I don't know what's going to happen. But really, we want to dive into the actual build process a little bit, and we can relay how it's been going on our houses and go from there. Do you need a pen? You look
I
like you're
do.
ready to
No,
take
I
notes.
had a few things I want to ask you guys specifically. I think are going to benefit some of our listeners that are curious about new builds out here.
Yes, because that's a big deal. We get a lot of calls about people that are looking to move up here, buy land, and build a home, which is a scary prospect, right? You got to make sure you have a trusted builder.
It's not scary.
So I guess we're gonna have to find somebody else because we can't. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. How long have you guys been doing this? I know we're fairly new as a new business, but let's dive into the background. Spencer, you've been building homes a long time, right?
Yeah, about 7 years as a custom home builder.
How many custom homes you built in that time?
50 plus.
Yeah. All right. Including, I just found out today too that were $15 million each.
Indeed,
Yeah,
yes.
that's pretty legit, dude.
Yes.
Mine's not that expensive.
And they were
just for the record.
not easy builds, and no one helped me. So it was definitely like a growing. Like they tell you, like if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of growth came for me. Is I got comfortable with your standard custom home, and then when they handed me these two builds that were $15 million, I won't mention the actual company, but they were in disarray for upwards of 7 years. And so when I got those, I had to go into it triaging inside the house and exterior of the house and figure what was wrong. I had to figure out how to fix it. I had to fix it and get it back on track and back on schedule.
It's no easy task. And it's funny, so we just met with the excavator, Hank, and turns out Hank did the verti block walls on those houses. So
Yep.
there's a connection there. It's kind of
Yep.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because he came in. He was like, "Hey, did you do those?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like when they purchased our custom home building company, those were assigned to me, and they basically hands off. They said, "Go fix them." And so for me to like go in there, you know, I was like a deer in headlights initially. I'm just like, "Oh man, this is a big undertaking." I kind of had to bite it off chunk by chunk, but in doing so, it really kind of pushed me forward on the custom home building. on what's wrong, what's right, how to fix. Even though like my projects, I've never had to have a project that needs fixed, but I've always had to fix other projects. But these two were like the ultimate projects to fix.
It's because you didn't start to finish. You came in mid-build.
On those
Correct.
two,
Yeah.
on those
Right.
two, yes. So I took it over from another contractor that they had contracted.
I feel like a lot of people wouldn't even want to touch that, right?
A lot of people didn't,
Yeah.
including the company that owned them did not want to touch them.
Well, in fairness, I could see that perspective, especially as a custom home builder, because if you're coming in and taking on somebody else's project, you all of a sudden own the warranty. We've talked about that with your company because you're like, hell yeah, we're going to warranty our work, but you guys are there start to finish using your subs. So when you walk onto a project and it's like 25, 30% of the way done, you're like, oh man, I have no idea what they did. So then you got to diagnose, pull stuff up.
Yep.
It's no different than new home builders versus people that do remodels.
Yeah.
New home builders is from start to finish, right? From dirt work all the way to roofing, turnkey till you move in. If you do a remodel, you come in, next thing you know, you're maybe adding height to the ceiling or adding a little bit of a wall space for a bedroom to expand. And then once you dive into that or you start to tear that drywall down, next thing you know, you have to do a electrical change, or you have to update insulation because none of it's to code. So remodel is a whole separate animal that we don't even dive into.
But
We
imagine
want
having a
start
new
to
build
end.
that's a remodel
Yeah.
halfway through.
That's frustrating.
And so you have, I mean, it was a crazy process. It was a cool process, watching unravel, and then like when you get to framing inspection and you get to these massive homes that are $15 million each, and you pass your framing inspection on the first go, you know, after you get done fixing it, you're like, man, that was a win. And so you kind of like really get your confidence built, and you're like, man, this is good.
I feel like you had to do that though, and it probably taught you a lot about, wait, okay, so what subs were used on this to begin with? Because I'm never going to use those again, right? Like,
well, that's another thing is you have these subs you've been working with for the previous 6 years, right? And you bring them onto these quagmires, and you got to convince them, hey, we got to get through this. Like there's loyalty here. There's a relationship, which I still have the same subs on your house, Seth.
Yep, they've been
same
awesome.
subs on your shop,
Yep.
Eric. And you pull them in. You're like, hey, we just got to get through this.
problem solve.
We got to problem solve together, and we got to deliver a pristine product.
Right.
And all of them, if you have the right relationship, they're all on team me or whoever the contractor is, and they just plow through it.
Yeah.
And that's what I had. And so I would say I'd give the props to the subs, you know, on being able to
Get that thing in your grill, bro. Yeah, move it around. There you go.
Yeah, that a boy.
You're used to that. A microphone. That's all I'm saying. Keep going.
He was in professional mode, dude. You see the look on his face
I know,
change?
I know,
He's like,
sorry.
all right, I'm
Well,
going to say something.
this is now professional mode. Let me
Let's
tell you.
There we go.
Yeah.
and so you know, your subs are what really give you the pristine product. You know, as a GC, knowing what you're doing, but also having the subs that you don't have to babysit, and they know what they're doing.
I've watched that in my house because you're very good at dealing with the subs. Like, here's a perfect example. This happened yesterday. They were putting the beam on my front porch, and the framer had that young guy up there, and they're setting the beam up there.
Rough sawn beam.
Yes, rough sawn beam. Like, it's going to be exposed to the world. It's beautiful. And you know what I'm about to say. And this young framer, I'm sure he's the new kid on the crew, he sets it up there and he takes his hammer and he hits it twice. And Spencer's like, no! And the kid just freezes, like shits his pants. And I didn't even think about it, right? You thought about it and you caught him. And it's like, yo, use a block of wood. That you don't want to leave a dent in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough sawn. It's there to be
It's
seen.
there.
But to be clear, I wasn't mean about it.
No, but you caught it before my brain even processed.
I say that because I'm not mean to my subs.
No.
Like there's no yelling, no fighting.
You
on my
guys
sites.
you have a very good relationship. I've seen that.
And but no, I did say no, and it was assertive. But because I saw that, I'm like, bro,
It was back
I'm
to
not
your old
paying
cop
for
days.
that new beam.
It was
Yeah,
your old
but-
cop days, bro. I heard
Yes.
it. The command
Accountability to standards is not mean.
No, and they were
Accountability to holding standards and then having accountability amongst your small unit is not mean.
He wasn't
We're
offended.
used to that.
He wasn't offended. He was like,
Right.
whoa.
It was a
And I'm
learning
like,
moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do that. Like that's
Yeah.
a decorative beam. It's expensive, and the homeowner. And it honestly, to your props, Seth. Any other homeowner would have said, I want a new beam.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking about that.
Just I didn't tell my wife, so it's fine.
And she won't know.
I'll see it every day when I go
You
home.
will.
Yes.
But you'll see those two hammer marks.
I'll get a new one ordered.
But that's what I expect on my job sites.
That's called the carpenter's trademark. My dad taught me that one.
Right? It's a chef's
hammer.
kiss.
Yeah.
And so that did happen. And that's part of the relationship you have with your subs where you can correct them and they're not offended.
Yeah, but most of the time you don't need to. I've noticed your guys know exactly what they're doing. I want to start at the process. I want to go through a lot of the process today of what it's like to build a home because people have so many questions and I've been learning so much along the way. Part of that being, okay, so, wow, man, where do we begin? Buying, you have the land. Say you got the land set aside. Here's how we did it for plans. I had someone ask me this the other day. They sent me an email about it. Because they're like, how do we even get plans? Like, what do I do?
I can speak to that, but that's good questions.
Yeah, so here's what I did personally, and then you guys can jump in. My wife and I scoured the internet. If you go to homes.com, whatever, there's thousands and thousands of house plans. You will lose your mind going down that road. But you can find something that is very similar to what you want. And then we brought it to a draftsman, and he drew it up. And it was not crazy expensive to do it that way. Looking back, I'd still probably do it that way. I mean, I want to say we were like $4,000 or less for the draftsman to draw everything up. And then a couple of things needed engineering. That was an easy process that was not super expensive either. And then we had house plans based on a home that we liked that we found online. It's a lot cheaper than using an architect. There are certainly homes where you're going to want to use an architect, but we're getting a very nice custom home that was designed relatively cheap. Is that
100%. I think being a new, I guess, let me back up. 100% right. Once you find the lot, the house building process to me is the easy part. That's something that if you find a good general contractor, hopefully us, we can walk you through that process.
Nice plug.
Finding the plans, 100%. I think you're right. I think you go online, find out exactly kind of what you like. I think the house needs to be attractive from the outside, and then we can always tailor the inside to match exactly what you and your spouse or you and your family desire so that we can bring that house to fruition.
Let's be real, just the spouse.
Yeah,
Make your wife happy.
I was trying to be manly because there's 4 guys on the
I was picking out
podcast,
floors
so
before this, and I don't know how many times I said I just
fair.
don't care. I'm good.
Listen, I don't need any more.
My wife
I
will
don't
care.
Yeah.
So like you said, there's thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of plans online. You got to narrow it down. That's something that, quite frankly, it makes no sense to come to the builder till you kind of have an idea of what you want, because you can explain to me as much as you want until you see it and you bring the product to us. It's kind of hard to do that. So I do suggest people, we have a couple good websites that we send people to look for plans. You can narrow it down. Do you want 3-bed, 4-bed, 5-bed, 6-bed? Do you want flat roof? Do you want a pitch roof? Do
Bonus
you want
over the garage.
Yeah, how many car garage? You can narrow it down. Do you want a barnuminium? Do you want a custom style rancher? Do you want all of that? There's so many different styles that you can set up. Once that's dialed, we suggest you don't buy the plans online. I'm sorry for all
I forgot to say that. Yes.
I'm sorry for all the online all the online web entities that house all these plans, but they are not custom to our state, so they don't fit for us. Send us the URL. We will get it to our draftsman. We'll put you in touch with our draftsman so that we're not the middleman. He'll dial exactly to you to your needs. He'll send it to us. We'll figure out exactly what needs engineered. There's only certain portions of houses that need engineers. Nothing to freak you out, but if you have a girder because you have a open floor, open kitchen, open living room concept, that weight has to come all the way down to the base pads on the foundation, which we can handle that part. That's what you guys are hiring us for. If there's beams or any posts that are a certain length, they have to be engineered. Super simple, but you're looking generally about $2.50 per square foot to get legit plans that are ready for me to submit for permitting in the state of Idaho.
Yeah, the engineering was super simple on mine. We had one tall wall. There was only a couple of spots. It was relatively cheap. The engineering was cheaper than a draftsman.
Every house is different, but yeah, 100%. If your foundation wall is over 8 feet, 8 feet 6 inches, some of that stuff need engineered, but it's all different for each house. But that's where we get our expertise in, and we can help.
Yep. So then I took those plans, I sent it to John, and John crunched. He's more of a nerd than he looks. He looks like a gorilla, but he's a nerd. And crunched all the numbers, and then gave us a very detailed bid. I mean, everything is in there. It takes some time to get that done, but that's the working number that we went off of. And then those plans get submitted to the county.
Yeah.
And I know people out there, some people hate Kootenai County building department.
They're strict.
But it wasn't that bad. What was our time frame? Like 30 to 60 days? I don't remember exactly.
I would say this about Kootenai County Building Department is they have standards.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to get frustrated with standards no matter where you go, right? Like, we won't get into politics or anything else like that, but like if someone's holding you...
I'm just kidding.
We can.
We do that all the time.
We can all the time.
Yeah.
But like it's easy to get frustrated with standards. But if the building department at Kootenai County, they have standards.
Yep.
And they're always upping them. And so it's easy to get frustrated with them. And if I didn't have the relationship I had with them, I would be frustrated with them all the time. Mm-hmm. But knowing that they are reasonable, like I don't get frustrated, I just kind of adjust to it. But the standards are high in Kootenai County. If you go to other counties north of us or south of us, they have lesser standards.
You can say Bonner, bro. We show houses there.
Yeah, Bonner standards are very low.
Like
Yes,
Bonner
loose.
has two inspections, like where your house is sitting and the final.
That's it.
But
let me make something unequivocally clear. If you choose us to build, we keep the same standards because just because you go up,
point.
you can't lower your standards as the build process. And everybody's always actually. Let me go back to the bid. Bids take time. If you're expecting a bid in 24 hours, that is not realistic. It takes anywhere from 14 to 21 days. I would say on the fast side.
Because there's hundreds of line
There
items on
are,
that
and
bid, right?
I probably put too much detail into ours. However, I put myself in your shoes. We've built our own home before. I want to know if I was the buyer, somebody looking to have the house built, I want to know where all of my dollars are spent.
Yep.
So I make it unequivocally clear throughout the entire process that each thing, starting with plans, cabinetry, foundation, it's broken down into each line item throughout the entire build. I even put our general contractor fees in there. A lot of people don't. They increase each line item and they'll put a 15 to 25 to maybe even 30% depending on who the builder is. Markup on everything and add a general contractor fee. So at some point you're almost paying 40% general contractor fees.
Damn.
Which is why building is expensive. That is not our style. Ours is broken down based off of we give you line items, that's our cost to build, and then we give you our general contractor fee, which anywhere between 18 to 21% realistically, depending on the complexity, the time and travel from our areas. If it's in Sandpoint or if it's up in Bonner's Ferry or something similar to that, that's okay. But we have to pay our subs more to travel because it's more time away from their family.
Yeah, we're just signing a contract with someone in Bonner County.
Yep.
Up Priest Lake area, and out there we were talking about inspections, and I told him, bro, you got 2 inspections up here. I said, but rest assured, your quality is going to reflect all the inspections of Kootenai County. I've only done customs. I've never done track homes, and so your quality is going to reflect a custom home build. Mm-hmm. And so rest assured that with us, you're going to get the same quality in Bonner County that you do Kootenai County. I'm not going to just say good enough.
Yep.
Or, hey, this meets inspection. That's not what we do.
Bonner requires, it's 4 inspections actually. Site plan, where your house sits, and it's only because your house can't be over a certain percentage of your lot size. So if you have 4 or 5 acres, it doesn't really matter.
And setbacks, I'm
Correct.
sure. Yeah.
And setbacks. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's said in there. There's 2 state inspections that the county doesn't regulate, which is electrical and plumbing. And then they want a final, which generally just shows that there's no, in Bonner County specific, that there's no safety issues for the family or anybody that walks by. So you can have a deck 15 feet off the ground without railing.
Okay.
That's all they're looking for. Where you come to Kootenai, you have a setback inspection, you have a footer for your foundation inspection, you have a wall inspection, and then it goes into framing, shear inspection, house wrap, air seal. Kootenai County standards are industry best practices, which is good for people in our area, and that's the standards we hold for all of our subs, regardless of where we build.
And that's how our warranty works. It's national standards, right?
Yep.
National industry standards. There's a book on it. Like you can follow the book on your warranty.
No different for you cops as the Idaho State statute. That's the standard for all of Idaho cops, right?
Yeah.
And then you break it down into city or county ordinances. They have separate regulations. This is a nationwide contractor book.
I'd much rather be coming from your side, coming from Kootenai County where your standards are really, really high,
Yep.
and then moving out and doing builds in other
100%.
counties because you retain the same one. I was going to go back to you pulling permits. After a while, they had to get to know you, and you have a relationship with them. So it's got to be nice. So their opinion of you is that this guy generally brings me stuff, like his standards already really high.
Yes.
So they know it's going to require less work. right?
I have a certain job box that I keep for my plans.
Yeah.
And when they come in,
It has
you're
a
a little-
it's a color.
Yeah, you're a little fastidious about your
I
little
am.
setup, dude.
I am. And when they come in and see that job box, they're like, "Oh, that's Spencer's."
Yeah.
It's true. Like the sub's like, "Oh," they walked on site and said, "Oh, this is Spencer's site."
Yeah.
Like
I heard rumors about that, and then the guy immediately was
right.
taking his shoes off going into the house. This is Spencer's site.
It's true, right? Like you build a reputation with these guys
Right.
where they're still doing their job, but their guard is not as high as it would be another builder.
Yeah.
Because they know that more likely than not, things are going to be done right.
Right.
Well, you
And
don't
it-
want to waste your time. Like,
And if they're not done right, they can correct me and I'm not going to get offended.
Right.
Like I'm going to get it done. And because no one's perfect. Construction's not perfect and no one's perfect. Things happen. You rely on your subs. Subs miss things. I miss things.
Yeah.
But they're done right ultimately.
that's got to be nice coming into this now because you're not starting from day one.
That
No.
would be
Your
that would
established
be
reputation
tough.
follows you, not the
Correct.
business.
Correct.
Right? Like that part's cool.
You guys, you got to remember your builds or our builds, I should say, are only as good as our subs. Over the last 7 years, all the subs have been vetted. The subs that are bad, they're kicked to the curb, and they're replaced with people that are reputable. They meet our standards. They meet our expectations. They exceed them, and then we keep utilizing them, right?
And they're going to guarantee their work, right?
100%. However, it's a two-way street. Subs want paid on time. They do the work. They want paid on time. They want treated with respect. But in the same vein, if something's wrong, they know the expectation is you come and fix it or you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So it's a simple two-way street. So after one or two houses, the expectation's outlined, and it's generally pretty easy to manage from there on out.
And that's never been a problem. Like with the routine subs that I've maintained.
They're
over the
already
years,
vetted.
They're already vetted. Where it's not. I don't have to have the conversation.
Right.
It's like, hey, here's your punch list. I need it done by this date. They get it done by the date.
Yep.
And it's never an argument. It's never, hey, I need more money. It's like, no, this is what we agreed upon.
Yeah.
So,
So-
Seth, if you were to build your own house after seeing the process, it would not be how it is now. It's not streamlined. You don't have your own subs. You'd be
No
going
way.
to Google saying framers. You'd
Yeah.
Google it, probably go based off of high star reviews, and then you're waiting 3 to 4 months, hopefully for them to come out and give you a bid. It would take you 10 to 12 years. There's no way it would be as streamlined
No
process or as good quality.
No
well,
way.
I would even say this. Like, you guys, you, Seth, and Dave have all picked your own subs to a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't been the same as the subs that I've brought to the table.
Well, generally because they're friends, right? They're friends
yeah,
that you're trying to give, but you should.
Which is not a terrible thing. I don't want to crap on anybody, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Accurate.
Business is business. So there's a professional side and there's a friendship side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The professional side is you got to get shit done to our expectations, meet them.
Don't hit the table.
Sorry, you got to meet them, and you got to exceed that, right? But on
Yeah.
the friend side, it's more of, hey, I'm giving you a deal. I'm just going to try to get this done weekend warrior style.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the process. So, permits submitted to the county.
Yep.
They,
So land,
It's normal
plans,
they'll get kicked
permitting.
back a couple of times, right?
It will.
Yeah.
It
Because there's
will.
always little shit the inspectors will catch. Easy fixes.
I'll say this: that's a compromise you get when you use a draftsman versus an architect.
Okay.
Is draftsmen are great. They're fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But you, as opposed to an architect where you have more thorough plans,
Yep.
you'll get less kickbacks, if any.
That's one thing I did notice, right? There were a few things that were caught in the framing process that the draftsman overlooked.
Yep.
And I used a different draftsman than you guys are using, just for the record. So that kind of stuff, an architect would 100% catch.
And I would say that you're spending money to save time at that point.
Yeah.
Less questions on our part and less time spent through permitting process.
Less detail.
Versus if you just spend the money on the front end and pay for the architect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all on what your budget is and what your patience level.
Mm-hmm.
I argue that I don't think they always get kicked back. Actually, the majority of ours don't get kicked back if the detail's in there.
Ours did a couple of times, and it was
Just lack of
it was
detail
probably a
from
draftsman issue,
yeah.
right? You guys handle. I didn't touch any of that. You guys handle all of that, which was very nice, by the way. I don't have to deal with that. One other thing to think about while you're doing this, septic. If you're on land,
Yep.
you're going to need a septic installed. I actually did that myself with Panhandle Health. It was intimidating at first, but it was super freaking easy. The excavator dug the test holes while he was out there digging the foundation, and they came out and inspected it. It was like, I don't know, what did I spend? Like $1,200 or something for that whole process.
Yeah.
And then easy.
Septic, super easy. Not every lot needs septic, right? If you're in
Right.
city services, you get access to the city services for that.
Yep.
And what's the restriction in Kootenai County for septic? Isn't go ahead.
Great question. So septics are based off of bedrooms because they want to know how many people are living in your house to make sure that they don't exceed the amount of water or waste that goes into the septic. Septics are broken generally into two parts. You have your holding tank for solids, and then you have your drain fields for the liquids. That's why they do the test hole. It's called a Perk test. So they want to see how fast the liquids percolate in the soil types. Then it goes back to an engineer with a Panhandle Health District, super simple, and they determine based off your soil types, based off of how fast the water percolates. They dump 5 gallons into a dig site to see, and then they time it, how fast it percolates, and then they determine how long your runs need to be for your drain field.
Yep.
Super
in my
simple.
case, it was even easier. The guy came out and he recognized my soil type, which is super sandy where I'm at, and he didn't even pour any water.
Perk's
He
easy.
looked at it, he's like, good to go.
Yep, super simple.
It was easy.
Real quick, just to follow up on septic, because isn't it one septic per 5 acre lot if you're above?
No. Good question. So where you're at, you're over the aquifer. So you can only, there's this Rathdrum aquifer, and if you look at the map, it runs almost like this northeast diagonal throughout Kootenai County in that Rathdrum area. They only allow one septic over the aquifer per 5 acre parcel. That doesn't mean that you can't add on to it. That just means one septic. So actually, we're doing an ADU in Rathdrum. Guy has a 3,200 square foot house. They already have their septic installed. Obviously, it's a pre-existing home. However, they want a 3,500 square foot ADU for their mother-in-law, as they just delivered a child, and now they want help from grandma, grandpa out of California. They want a place for them to stay. And they got turned off because they said Panhandle will not let us do a septic. And I go, that's fine. You need to come to us because we can add to that process.
Yeah.
The law says for that specific area that you can only have one septic. It doesn't say that we can't dig up your current septic and add to it to make it accommodable for an additional 3-bedroom ADU.
See, that's good info. And most of the
It
time,
is. A lot of people get turned off, but it's only because they don't have the knowledge.
Well, and a lot of times that septic is designed to add a bedroom or two to the existing home.
Correct.
In plans that it could expand or do something like that.
Well, I think when most people put septic in, they do the cheapest way possible, right? So if you do a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you're getting a 1,000-gallon tank with minimal runs, right? They're doing it just to accommodate what that build is to save on cost. All of our houses, we do an additional 500 square feet. That way, if you had a shop or an ADU, that we can expand that, and you don't have to dig up your whole drain field because that's not fair.
Right.
And it's very minimal costs up front. It's 2 more bucket digs with the excavator.
As I'm learning now, you don't have grass in, you don't have sprinklers in,
Correct.
you don't have any
Yes, all the
utilities running
expensive
out there.
stuff. You don't have to you
Yes.
don't have to recover everything.
Okay. So we get plans back from the county now for the house plans. What's the next step?
So I think 1, you find your lot. 2, you find your plans. 3, you kick them to us. We get them drafted. We get them engineered. I submit for permitting. We do our plans expedited permitting. Generally, it could be 4 to 6 months. We're getting ours back generally about 20, 21 days, as long as everything's good.
Yep.
Next step after that, we sign a contract. If it's not already signed, we start prepping the lot, right? We start cutting trees so that as soon as that permit's done, the first permit in Kootenai County, or the first inspection portion, is the setbacks and the footers for the foundation. So that the soil's already cut. The ground's already cut. We make sure that thing's spec'd for the setbacks. If there's a site disturbance based off of grade, slopes, or anything like that, we get all that shit dialed so that as soon as that permit hits, just like on your lot, day 2, they're already in there framing their foundation so that we can have that thing spun up and rolling.
Yep. And in my case, we tore down an existing home, which added another step. But
Yours is an anomaly.
Really not a big deal. And you guys are doing another one like that right now on the river. One extra step I had to do before I tore it down was an asbestos inspection. Yep. Super easy. I was stressing about that too. And then we hired a company. She came in, tested various areas inside the house, came back negative. We got the paperwork good to go, and then hired the same excavator that dug our foundation, tore the house down and hauled that off.
Well, I don't know. You had some other excavators for free come in first and help tear that.
True.
Yeah.
Tear that
If you
thing
haven't
down.
seen the video, we had the Coeur d'Alene, I guess Kootenai County, right? The joint SWAT team come in, and we let them trash the previous house
little-
beforehand, which was
Which
awesome.
is
Some
awesome
training.
Like,
Very good,
because you don't
very
get to do that very often.
Very good.
And there, no fun was had. It was purely professional. Nobody was
Purely
allowed.
professional.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with explosives.
So so digging the foundation. Here's like a kudos to you guys because they dug out. They were digging out the foundation, and Spencer noticed there was some pre-existing. Like they didn't go deep enough in the foundation, right? Spencer noticed it right away. He called me, and I was like,
Story
"Oh
of my
shit,
life.
here we go. This is gonna stress me out." But like, you're not wrong. If you don't have a good foundation, the rest of the house is questionable, and that is the most important thing. So it cost a little extra money, a little extra time. It got done right, and we ended up having to dig out a lot more than we had previously thought. But
Let me talk about excavating real quick,
Yeah.
and you can fill this in. You're 100% right. Your house is built on the foundation. The foundation has to be perfect. They have engineers for soils, right? They're called geotechnical engineers. That's their whole job, is to determine what kind of soil things are built on, whether it's oceanfront, lakefront, whether it's rocky, whether it's sandy, regardless of the soil types. They have engineers for that. The best soil, regardless across the nation, is native soil. So as long as you get all of the fill or clear dirt off and you get down to native soil where it is compacted just based off the earth being the earth, right? That's the best soil to build on top of. So if you have the experience to notice that is native soil and that's not fill or compacted fill that's on top of it, it is generally pretty good. If we ever have question, we bring in a geotech engineer, they test it, and then they determine what else is needed. It could be you need to bring in 6-inch minus pat, and then it needs to be compacted to certain, all easy stuff, all stuff we deal with all the time. However, the soil that the foundation is poured on has to be perfect before we proceed. So when you get a buddy deal that says, hey, I have an excavator, I could come in and do this for free $99 on the weekends. It's okay. However, we're going to be very particular because we're not building our house on shit.
Yeah, and mine, once again, was a unique situation. The house we tore down was built in the 40s. There was apparently another house underneath that had been torn down. So we got to what we thought we should have been native soil, and then you guys noticed, there's some fucking debris under there. Like shit,
Fill.
right?
Yeah.
And
It started with a sod line. I could see a sod line that was obviously old. And I'm like, that's not native.
Right.
Keep digging. And then as I kept digging back,
there's like insulation and
then
trim
all of a sudden I
and
see
shit.
plywood maybe 20 feet back. And I'm like, keep digging. That's not good. Like, keep digging. And it was met with some resistance, but I'm like, no, keep digging. And so we got to a point where we didn't see it anymore. And you see that it's going up the hill, and you see native, and you're like, okay,
Some of that resistance was from me, I'm going to be honest with you.
okay.
But I appreciate you beating my ass and telling me to stop.
Seth, I love you.
Yeah, thank you. Same.
Well, because you're seeing dollar signs, right?
100%. I was stressing about that.
And people see deep, they see deep trenches for footers, and it freaks them out.
Yeah.
But it should not scare you. That just means a wider footer, taller walls, all engineered. It has the same spec, has the same ability to
And it
hold
didn't
whatever house.
add a
It
lot
doesn't
of it
add
cost.
shit.
It didn't add a lot of cost.
3 yards of concrete for how much you stressed out.
No big deal.
$500.
And then, okay, so foundation's dug. Now the footings get poured.
Correct. Footers.
Wayne? Who was it?
That was Marty.
Marty. That's Marty and Wayne sounds like.
Marty's legit.
Sounds the same.
Marty's
Absolutely.
legit, yeah.
They're all legit.
His crew came out and they formed that.
That's Crete Masters, by the way.
They formed that up fast.
Yeah.
Pour the footings and then come back and pour the stem walls.
Yep.
And then, look at me, I'm learning so much.
It's okay. Footers go first. It
Yeah.
has to cure. Then they come back and put the stem walls in.
Stem walls on top.
Rebar's already vertical so that it catches all that and there's no movement. Correct.
Yep. And then
All engineered. It has to be a certain. It's like the best analogy given to me was actually from a guy I know. His name's Spencer. He builds custom homes, but he said it's a snowshoe, right? You have a snowshoe. That's your footer on top of native soil, right? So the wider, generally, it's more sturdy. However, at some point, you're wasting money because it doesn't have to be as wide as you want specifically. But it's all engineered. It's all dialed in. It's all legit.
I have zero qualms about my foundation. That's
Your
for sure.
foundation's solid. It's
It
not
is
going anywhere.
Solid.
If in 40 years they try to tear it down, I feel bad for whoever has to tear that bastard down.
We'll probably all be dead by then, so it doesn't matter. And then backfill. So then the excavator comes back out, backfills everything around the foundation. Then it starts to actually look like something other than a mountain of dirt and some
Correct.
shit.
There's one step in
Yep.
between. So prior to backfill, we do foundation drainage. So they run a perforated pipe around the foundation so that any moisture, water comes down. It doesn't seep into either one, your crawl space and or your foundation, and it runs it off your site. But then you're right, then backfill occurs so that the site is navigable for all the other subs, because nobody wants to be crawling in and out of trenches because it is a grade A pain in the ass.
Yep. Then framing starts, huh?
You're right.
That's when it actually starts to feel like some shit. I remember when we hit my house and they framed up the floor of the first floor. So my house is a 2-story. It has a large crawl space that kind of steps down. So they had to level it out with framing, and then they put down the decking for the first floor, and then we had a pizza party on it. Because that was like a moment where I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, it's happening. We
It's
got
a
a house.
dance floor, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think prior to getting to that, I think Spencer should show what sets us apart from other builders. Most builders throw on the treated lumber and they start building their subfloors or hang their joists from that, but we take it one step above, and
We actually, I don't like hangers. It creates squeaks. It's a
fluctuation.
deflection, fluctuation, whatever you want to call it. But we do actually stem walls, and we rest those joists on the actual stem walls. Pony walls.
That is something I'd never seen before.
Next
So
level.
we build pony walls on all the cross walls wherever the joists are going to sit. So there's no joists, so there's no squeaks, and it creates just a better product.
Yeah. So if you're not understanding, I can put it in knucklehead terms because that's all I understand. Is you've got the stem wall with the plate, the
base plate.
The base plate. Okay.
Correct.
And then there's another wall built inside of that that's stepped down the height of the floor joists.
Correct. Yep.
So it creates a perfectly level surface.
So instead of 16 or 12 gauge metal hangers, it is sitting on top of another wall, so that it's just way more structural.
So most structures have their base plate, and then they put their hanger nailed into the base plate, and then they put their BCIs or their joists inside.
Yeah.
We don't use the hanger. We don't hang it on that base plate. We build the pony walls. We set the joists on the pony walls. And then it's got roll blocks, and and then we put the floor on top of that. It just
It's rock solid.
It's just rock solid. There's no squeaks. It's just a better product.
Yeah. You could drive a truck on my.
You really
my floor.
can, and it is more work, but also it's quality.
Yeah.
We told you from the beginning, and I think you understand now, we're going to build your house as if it were ours. Because, Seth, unfortunately, we're not trying to get rich off you. We're trying to get rich off you spreading our name to the next 50 people that we're the best builders in town. So that's truly, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like that.
Because negative reputation, it spreads way faster than positive. So we want to get rich off of that.
I'll even add to that. Kootenai County's added an inspection to that process before you can put the flooring on. Once you get the BCIs in there, or the joists, they add an inspection before you can floor it, sheet it, which is a underflooring inspection to make sure all your hold downs, everything's right in your crawl space when it comes to anchor bolts and anything under there. They come in and inspect that. That started, I think, September 1st, and then you can sheet it. And so they're so particular that they even add an inspection before you can sheet the flooring.
Well, I have zero qualms.
Kootenai's industry best practices for sure, or standards.
Right, and they come out and inspect, but I've seen and heard a number of horror stories from other custom home builds. If you guys aren't committed to that process yourself as part of your own culture, if that's not a part of your values and what sets you apart, I mean, inspectors are coming out there doing their job and they're human. They miss things.
Correct.
They do.
Right. And you see that, and then later on, it's like, how did you pay this much for a home? And all of a sudden, you've got this many splits in the wall, or it's starting to come apart because the roof wasn't put in correctly, or there's leaking in the roof because you didn't have the spacers, whatever.
Yeah. Well, inspectors are human, right?
Yep.
Humans. There's human error in everything.
Right.
And so it takes every eye that sets on that process to catch everything.
Yeah.
And so you can't just lean on the inspectors to make sure you have a quality build.
Well, I've seen you out of my side, bro. I'm building a 40 by 60 shop. It's not some bougie Seth house.
Yeah, it's a pretty bougie shop.
Yeah, it's a bougie shop.
It's a bougie
Yeah,
shop. It is.
100%.
No, but you're out of my side every day, or dang near. I mean,
Yeah.
you're doing inspections dang near every day of the
You
construction
have
process.
to. Let's be real. Inspectors are government employees, right? They're making $25 an hour. They get put through testing to determine that they know what the actual IBC or the International Building Code is, so that they can go out and look for those specific things. They're not building houses in and out. I'm not saying our inspectors are bad. They're all good. They know the minor stuff that you have to look for. We don't want mediocrity. We want above and beyond which is what sets people apart.
Well, let me be honest. I learned a lot of what I know from the inspectors. You know, your failed inspections from the beginning of your career
Yeah.
teach you, and you know what to look for.
Yeah.
And so I would say that we do have we have really good quality inspectors where they actually, if you pay attention, don't get prideful, and you actually like want to walk with them and learn, which I did. You don't argue with them, don't yell at them. You take your lumps and you learn from them, and then you don't have those lumps anymore. You don't have those conflicts anymore. You're like, okay, I know what he's looking. This is Thomas. I know what he's looking for. You know, I need to get this right. And so that a lot of my learning came not just from fixing and building, but it's also came from inspections. And so learning building code as a builder is important to deliver that quality product.
You guys know different than being kind in humanity, right? We have a texting base. I was actually texting the inspector and the permit tech prior to getting in here for our podcast to make sure that our next one's ready to go. So no different than you guys. You build relations with these. They're human.
That's rapport building.
Yeah, 100%. And the next thing you know, if you need something, it's a text basis where I can text and say, hey, I'm sorry, our inspection's for Friday, but we're 3 days ahead of schedule. Can I send you a text? And then they'll expedite the response. And like, it's rapport building. It's that friendship based. I don't know where the hell Spencer just went.
I think he went to the bathroom,
Yeah.
but he just locked himself out too. I got to go crack the door. Hang on.
Yeah, it'll be kind of fun.
I'll be right back.
No, dude, so people come up here and they have the dream, right? Like where they want to buy land and then they want to build on it. And it's a constant, and I don't know near as much as you guys do, but when you're looking online for raw land and property, there's a significant variance in price depending on the county you're in, depending on the land that you're on. And of course, they're leaning towards the least expensive because they know the build price is going to be more.
Correct.
And you tell me to shut up whenever and better explain, but when I look at it just from my I am blunt instrument, but I can look and say, hey, dude, there's like a lot of rolling hills. There's not an established build site yet. There's no improvements. Power's probably 600 feet away.
Eric, that's why our relationship's so important. You guys are realistic thinkers, right? We need you guys to be successful. You guys find the lots, right? Adding the infrastructure can be expensive. I don't want people freaked out with septics. Generally, septic can be $10,000 to $12,000, so don't let that turn you off. Most sites already have power at least to the edge of the site, so we just have to trench that in. It's generally not that expensive. The well, it could be anywhere from $20,000 to $70,000, but there are websites in Kootenai County that generally describe the surrounding parcels well that have been drilled because they're all reported to the county. So it shouldn't be a scary process. However, it would be scary if you take it on yourself. And I'm not saying that. I'm not a sales guy. I'm just honest. If you took it on and you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you could be in a world of hurt. You could overbid, you could underbid, and you could screw yourself. And next thing you know, you're filing for bankruptcy. Get somebody that's reputable, somebody that's not going to screw you over, even if it's not us. And it should be a pretty streamlined, easy process.
Right, but that's even like the unknowns. Definitely utilities are an expense, and there is a benefit if you're getting into a place that already has like a community well or they have a shared well.
Correct.
A lot of people are very scared about a shared well. We work with that all the time. That's not a big deal with title if it's an established shared well, especially if it's 35, 40 gallons a minute. That'll save you
fine.
save you 35, 40 grand in doing that. You know, it's when you get down below, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but it's where you get down below like 10 gallons a minute where maybe you got to start thinking about a cistern.
Then we just put on a holding tank and pressurize and we dial you in. It's nothing scary.
Right. But the big ones on property where people are looking for these less expensive properties that might be further out where the utilities are further away, a lot of times the unknown expense is excavation. You know, if you and tell me if I'm wrong, but like if it's like a whole bunch of basalt or it's a real rocky and it's sloped and there isn't a road cut in yet, that excavation expense can be
dirt work can add up.
That can get crazy putting a road in for sure, especially on a hill.
Yeah.
Rock is good, but we don't do slab on grade, and here's why. We like to be below the frost lines with our footers and our stem walls because, one, we want to make sure that they never freeze and crack so that your foundation never cracks, and two, we like to be able to have access underneath the house so that we can, one, check all your infrastructures, which I call infrastructure is two different infrastructures. For the land, it is your water, septic, and power. For inside the house, the infrastructure that I refer to is your HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. It's always nice to be able to access those. You don't want that stuff. You don't want your plumbing pipes stuck in the middle of cement where you never have access to, or if you make any modifications or anything like that. But also, you don't want your stem walls freezing. And North Idaho gets some crazy weather sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It fluctuates from -30 to 100 degrees. So stem wall, traditional foundation to us is the best, and that's why we choose that.
I mean, my crawl space is like unbelievable.
It's because we
Plumbers
made your
are so
excavator
excited.
dig a little bit deeper, which is okay. It just gets you a little bit bigger crawl space.
I can't stand up in it. I can almost stand up in it. Eric could probably do jumping jacks.
Oh,
in there and touch the ceiling.
100%. Dude. 0 is a short jump. That's good. We've made it 40 minutes in the podcast.
Thank God for genetics,
This
right,
is
Eric?
great. Yeah, this is awesome. You know what? That's why you call me that stupid dwarf guy from Lord of the Rings, dude.
We don't say stupid, just
Yeah,
dwarf.
yeah, Gimli.
So,
there we go. That
He's
was it.
powerful.
Gimli,
He's a,
yeah,
he's a
that's what it
dangerous
was.
human.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, if people are looking to move up here to build, I think the partnership's perfect. You guys find the land. You guys are good at that.
And we're the same as you. We're brutally honest. You know what I mean? Like we're honest over sales all day long, because I don't want someone to come in with unrealistic expectations and not have the money to do what they want to do. Right? If it looks like a shit show, we're going to tell you it looks like a shit show.
I would agree.
If the property seems way cheaper and it's been on the market for 60 days and it seems less expensive, there's usually a reason why.
That's
right?
your guys' expertise. No different as a custom home builder. I would go to you guys because I don't know the price of land, right?
Right.
What? Let me ask you this. If I have a 5-acre parcel in Rathdrum that I want to sell, who dictates the price?
The market.
The bar.
Right.
Yeah.
But who
The buyers,
overall?
yeah.
If you say this lot's worth $250,000, can I say I want to list it for $500?
100%.
And then you guys would do that, right? Because I am the client.
But we're going to be very realistic about
I get that.
expectations.
So if you reverse roles, I think people that are looking to move here should come to you, because people overprice their shit and they want another $200,000. Where realistically, you'd be like, fuck that. That lot ain't worth $500,000.
Right.
You cut them $240 and that's a deal.
Yeah, I would say I just experienced that. I was looking at a property, and just to entertain it, and I talked to Dave, and he's like, you know what? I just did comps. They're listing that for $100,000 more than what the market goes for, and what it's probably worth. And he goes, you can come up 50. But I wouldn't go more than 50 above, and you're still paying more.
And that's realistic. And maybe the seller won't sell it, and that happens, and that's fine.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean they're going to take your offer, but
also they
at
will
least
never sell it.
They will never sell it.
But I would say it was not an unfair assessment to the seller either. It was what is the market standard right now? Like what's going on market? Like he wasn't being unfair. He wasn't trying to be on my side. He was just trying to be real.
And honestly, we have those conversations with other agents. Sometimes it's really awkward. But if I'm going to send one in that's significantly less than asking price, I'll send other houses, say, hey, here's the way we evaluated this. Like, I'm doing my due diligence for my
Eric,
client.
it's because you guys are real.
Yeah,
And people know that, and that's why you guys have a big following on podcast, right? Because you guys aren't looking to make $1 off of one person.
No.
You guys are trying to spread the truth, which is respectful.
Right. And just ask. Like, if you're out there looking at properties on Zillow, Zillow's a super cool site. I can't believe I just said that. I'm going to stop there. I really don't think it's that cool. But it is a great open source site to go find homes and land. Yeah. But know that if it's a hell of a lot less expensive, just hit us up. Yeah. We'll kind of give you a breakdown on either location, utilities. And sometimes if it's out in Mullen Trail, like those things don't perk test out there.
Right.
Out by Captain John Mullen, they can't perk test out there. Like that's the only place I'm aware of where perk tests are coming back really rough. But
some along the river. Actually, one that we bid on the river. It's the lot percolated for a 3-bedroom maximum.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they had to have a different sort of septic system, but it would
above ground,
which is doable, right?
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
just more expensive.
It's called an incinerator.
Yeah.
$180,000, and it literally burns everything that comes through that.
180.
Anything's buildable. Let me put that out there
Yeah.
to everybody. Anything's buildable. However, some come with a steep price.
Right.
Damn.
That's stuff that you guys, as the realtors, can quantify with your guys' expertise, and then us as the builders can quantify the build portion to let you know it's probably not realistic.
Yeah.
I just thought of something I wanted to add because we were getting past the foundation phase. This was important to me, and this is something you guys do standard in every house, is putting in a passive radon system.
Yes.
If you don't know what radon is, it's very common up here. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to die immediately, but it is a radioactive gas that's naturally occurring that comes out of the ground. It's to do with decaying or granite. Yeah.
Yep.
It's everywhere up here. I'd say like 50% of the homes we sell, there are detectable levels in those homes, right? It's easy to mitigate. But you guys put that pipe in. You put a perf pipe in the crawl space. It'll get covered with visqueen, which is a fancy word of saying plastic, and then it's a passive system for now, so it's piped out through the roof.
So passive means it doesn't have the fan installed. But in our crawl spaces, we do have an outlet installed in the crawl space so that if you ever choose to make that a non-passive system, all it does is it makes it so that you can install a fan and plug it in, and the system's already in place.
And then you have an active system, which will blow any of that air directly out through the roof, and it won't be an issue.
Super simple.
Super simple.
It
Don't
really
be scared
is.
about it, right?
You should not. It just blows it above your roof line so that it's not seeping into your house.
My plan is after the house is built, I'm going to put radon test kits in there and see if the levels need mitigating. If they do, then I'll just put the fan in.
And with your house, we already have electrical set up, your passive systems in there. It's a quick cut
Easy,
into it,
right?
add a fan, and go.
And we have test kits at the office now, don't we?
Yeah. I'm gonna go test one actually tomorrow.
You know what's funny is it seems like everybody from out of state when they move here, they care a lot about radon.
Yes.
But you got to think
Natives don't give a shit.
You got to think
been living here
everybody's
the whole
been
time,
here.
yeah.
Everybody's been here a certain amount of time. Either you have a passive or not. But like most people don't have an active radon system.
Right.
And nobody's dying.
That's my big argument, and I'm not saying it's not real
And
or it's
radon's
not
just
dangerous.
not North Idaho.
No, it's all over. It's
Okay,
all over
good.
the East
I just
Coast.
want
Yeah,
people
yeah.
to know that.
Yeah, it's. Here's what I tell people is like it is a thing, and it's possible you could get cancer from it, but we have high levels of radon here in general. We do not have high levels of lung cancer.
Correct.
Like, that's a thing. So
And from when we researched it, there's pockets. Not everywhere has high
Not
levels,
yet.
so
Yeah.
they can test it.
Spirit Lake seems high. Like when we're doing testing up there for whatever reason, Spirit Lake, I've got higher than average numbers on relatively new houses, and that's another thing.
If you're using that as a scapegoat for how you act, Eric, I don't know that that's realistic.
I think that's a Tylenol.
I'm in Hauser.
I don't
bro.
think it causes.
Yeah.
I don't think it causes autism. I think it causes lung cancer. So
Spirit Lake seems to be higher than most, and a lot of like older homes it seems to be somewhere
Yes.
I'd want to check it. If they've got like a basement, you know,
Basements particular.
Yeah.
Yep, and that seems to be the
you
spot.
can add it after the fact. They do it all the time. It's not crazy. Like
It's like
two
less than
grand.
$2,000,
It's nothing.
Correct.
But it's the infrastructure's in place. I love that in my house. So like I don't have to freaking
In
worry
the
about
walls, you never see it.
it. Right.
That's
Where
standard.
you add it after the fact, it's right in the middle of a room.
But that's standard part of our plumbing. When you get a plumbing quote from us, that already has a passive radon system in it.
Yeah.
Right, just in case.
Just in
it's
case.
nice to have it down
Yes.
there. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, so framing. I think we're like 5 weeks in on framing on my house now. I would say by 3 weeks we had pretty much all the walls up and it looked like a house.
Yes.
Now they're just kind of like fine tuning a
So
bunch
your
of shit.
excitement was at its peak right before trusses, and I told you as it's
No, I honestly today like I was just
Well, that's because
There, bro.
That's
Next level?
That's next level. But before we got to there, you were like on cloud 9.
even the
because you
first
saw-
floor. You
Yeah.
can start to see rooms. You're like, holy shit, I can see it now.
And I said,
cool.
Seth, once we get to trusses,
Yeah,
it's gonna slow
I lost
down.
it hasn't slowed down yet.
It hasn't, but it's because we have really good framers, which is Summit Creek. But like
They're good.
Yeah, Mark and Summit Creek, phenomenal framers, and he's got like 4 or 5 framing crews. And when you tell them to ramp it up,
They're fast.
they're fast
And
they're-
good,
and they're-
like, not just fast.
They're quality.
Yeah.
And but I did tell you, I said it would slow down at trusses, which I would say in my experience, they didn't slow down as much as other framers. They do a great job. And I was thinking about this today with Summit Creek. How often do you see the framers sitting around talking or even talking to each other?
Never.
I didn't in mind.
Very
You
rarely.
don't see them talking and wasting time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that yesterday and today, which I've had other framing crews where they sit there and talk and carry on conversation, even if it's across the site. They're not doing it. They're like diligently working. And I would give props to them because I did reflect on that today based off my experience. I'm like, that's why they're fast. They're not wasting time. They're not wasting energy.
Yeah.
They're not diverting their attention. They're literally, everybody's focused and working. And that's not exaggeration. They're literally, and they have a great culture. And they're just not talking, and so they are actually able to maintain a level of forward movement on your framing, regardless of the phase.
Yeah.
Because they're not distracted.
That got tested at my house, dude. I watched that because the power went out. Power went out for like an entire day, and you called me.
They called me. They said power's out. I said, Eric, get a generator going.
Oh yeah, and while we were getting the generator going, those guys were lining out everything that they were going to do. Like they were preparing is like, all right, so now we just
Yeah.
shift gears. We're going to cut everything. We're going to measure everything. And then while we're doing that, like while they're doing that part, we were getting the generator set up so they could still run their air compressor. It was cool.
Thanks for your build. I had to buy a couple generators, so that doesn't ever delay us anymore.
You're welcome for my service. Thank you. Just to make sure you're ready there for the next time, bro. It's good.
But it's good though. But like you'll see that most frames they slow down around trusses, which is normal because you got to set the truss and sheet them, and it kind of reaches this point where like, oh man, they're not moving very fast. I can't say that for yours.
No.
But generally speaking, most framers they slow down around that part, and it kind of gets to this point where like, oh man, they're not moving fast enough. But it's a normal process. I would say that fast moving process for the trusses and the sheeting is not your typical framing experience.
Right.
You guys are beneficiaries of a good framing crew.
Yeah.
But it is normal for it to slow down. It's not normal for them to keep their momentum during that process. And it is to be expected.
Here's a question that comes up for a lot of people, and I got lucky and we timed it right. We got very little rain in our house.
It's on my list, bro.
Before it was before
It's a
you
hot
you
topic.
had the roofers come out and put underlayment on as soon as the roof was sheeted.
Correct.
And that gave me huge peace of mind. Even though we've had a pretty good run, I had a couple days of rain in there. Two things I want to touch on. The subfloor that you used is the best shit out there.
Advantech is the best subfloor out there.
Because you told me it can be submerged underwater for like a year and nothing will happen.
It won't
to it.
swell. It's good.
And I can verify that because we had a couple of days of rain and there was a lake in my living room.
Yeah.
And it just sat there.
Yeah.
And nothing changed in the subfloor.
So to that point, you were also concerned about moisture
And mold.
And so building in the Northwest, you're going to have moisture if you're not dead center in the summer. Mm-hmm. You're going to have moisture, which is, and I told you, I've been telling you this from day one. It's normal up here. There's no house that's built up here that hasn't had some level of moisture. But once we had it dried in, what happened?
It dried out real quick.
It dried out real quick, and now you don't have any more moisture.
No, and we've got a while before sheetrock goes up. So if there were any moisture hiding around anywhere, it's going to be well dried before then.
Correct. And so, in fact, I've had this concern a lot from, I'd say it's easy. When I was building in Coeur d'Alene National, and they had a project manager or whatever his title was, where he didn't know any better. It was in the middle of summer. He's like, I want you to get all the framing material, all the drywall, the installation on site. I just want you to go. That's probably normal for California because they don't have moisture. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm not doing that. Like, you can't do that up here because we do have moisture. We have unexpected moisture. We have different seasons. I can't just get everything stocked on site so it can keep flowing. It's a different process up here as opposed to different areas of the country. You get those drier areas. You can expect no moisture. You can get everything on site. You can go ahead and have a stock of everything and keep your flow. But up here, it comes in phases where you're going to see moisture, and it's not an issue. And naturally, lumber has moisture to it. You have anywhere between 9 and 16, 20% in your lumber, naturally, because it is a living, breathing organism where it has cells just like human body, where it absorbs water. And it dries out just like a human body. It has cells in it that absorbs water, and so it always has a moisture level in it. And so when you see moisture in the house, we're not gonna enclose the walls if it looks wet. If I can see moisture, I'm not gonna enclose it. Just like most, if not all, builders in the area, because you're at risk of mold at that point.
100%. Yeah, we
However,
see it a lot.
However, if you do see a little bit of fuzz or whatever, that's normal around here on your framing. What keeps mold growing and moving and becomes an issue is the continual source of moisture. Mm-hmm. Now, when you stop it, that stops, and it's not an issue up here. And I've heard it from many homeowners. Hey, I see a little bit of speckle here. I see tiny bit of fuzz here. That's normal up here. Like you can't expect mold remediation on every home, especially if it's dried out and it's dormant or dead or not a problem. It's okay, unless you want to go ahead and stop the process, pay for mold remediation that doesn't need to happen, and you're spending money out of pocket and you're slowing down your build process.
I'm very tuned into it because we see it a lot in used homes that we sell. It's pretty common up here, usually due to lack of ventilation, things like that.
Correct.
There's always a cause.
Added moisture.
This drives me insane when they vent bathroom, and I don't think any builders do this anymore, but they vent a bathroom directly into the attic.
Not up here.
Yeah. Oh, we
you
see
see it in old homes.
Remodels.
You see it in old homes. and
remodels. You're right.
This will be a sales pitch for us. There are some new builders that you guys have done inspections on, or you guys have had inspectors go do the pre-sale inspection. I guess I don't know the terminology you guys use. And plumbing is going where?
Nowhere.
Yeah, right into the walls. There's fans going right into the attic.
It's crazy.
There's no mitigation for a lot of that stuff.
Let me qualify my statement. Is I've never done track homes, or I've never
that's
done
where you see it.
I've never done shitty built homes where all of my homes have always been ventilated properly.
Yeah, you have talked about that endlessly with me in the attic spaces and any roofs that, like that roof over our pantry, all of these little areas. Like, it is 100% on your brain, which gives me peace of mind because I think about it a lot too.
Well, with what you're describing, man, there's a big difference between moisture and humidity out here. You're going to have rain out here, right?
Yes.
That's a part of it. That's going to dry naturally. We don't have stick around humidity.
Correct.
Right, where if you're dealing with like Florida, where that stuff can just sit and it doesn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
I think I get a lot of questions from people on the build process, like how late in the game can you guys look at certain parts of this? Because obviously seasonally, you're not going to be putting in, a stem wall in December.
No, you will.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, exexplain that. How the hell does that go down?
Well, and that comes down to how long it's exposed.
Yeah.
The temperatures. There's concrete blankets. It's all on how you go about it. You can still keep moving, and when the temperature reaches a certain negative degrees, you don't want to be pouring that, right?
Right.
But how often do we get that? We might get a cold snap for a week or two at the most.
Yeah, where it
And
gets in the negatives.
And sometimes you have to stop. But up here, you don't stop unless it gets to that point. And usually the county inspectors or the concrete worker or the GC, they call it stop. And they look at the forecast. They're like, okay, we're going to stop for a week. We need to push our schedule for 2 weeks, whatever it looks like. It's a responsibility of everybody to kind of put their heads together and figure out what's healthy for the house, right?
So you guys can build through the winter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if there's a cold snap that's negative 14, we're going to say, hold on. We're going to hold off on the stem wall, hold off on these footings because the concrete's not going to cure the way it's supposed to. It's not
Cement
healthy for it.
specific.
Yeah.
Generally, we plan our build so that we're already to the dried-in phase for those specific, because then you can work all winter.
You can work all winter, but if you're talking about dirt work or it's frozen, you can't do backfill. You can't do it, right? And so, but that's very narrow.
Yeah.
In the season, it's not a full season because usually the temperatures rise to 30, 32, where you can keep moving.
Yeah.
But when it gets below that point, it's up to our discretion to be like, you know what, we need to pause right here.
Yeah.
This is only going to last a week. We need to pause. And but there's a lot of people coming from out of town that's never lived in the Northwest that's like, hey, it's only 32 degrees. You can't be doing that. Well, yeah, we can.
Right.
Like, it's okay. Most houses up here have been built under those circumstances, and they've been standing for 40, 50, 60, 100 years.
Right.
And it's okay. But when it comes down to, you talked about ventilation, you talked about, and I'll talk about thermal transfer, and that comes with insulating properly. That comes with backfill. That comes with all those things that they're going to create moisture, And so as we go through the excavation, foundation, framing process, one thing you're always have in mind is thermal transfer and moisture, Getting things dried out to the point where you can insulate, you can put up your vapor barrier, you can put up your drywall, and that's a big thing, is getting things dried in. Things dry out for pretty fast around here. All you need is air movement and ventilation. That's most of the time that's all you need to get things dried out. And so that's one thing that, as you guys were talking about, ventilation and putting things in the attic as opposed to piping it out the side of the house or the roof. You see that from time to time with the tract homes or the less quality homes.
Oh yeah.
And I myself, I've had that in a home that I owned years ago, where I went in the attic and I saw icicles hanging from each nail that came through the roof, And I'm like, what the heck is this? This is before I started building.
Yeah.
That's because there was a bathroom vent that terminated in the attic.
I think that's the way they used to do it.
Yeah.
And I've talked to you about this,
insane.
Seth, about certain things that you want to do.
Yep.
And I'm very conscious about that. But thermal transfer and ventilation is a huge aspect of mold control and moisture and the integrity of your home.
Yeah.
And so, right down to are your bathroom fans insulated on the exposed area?
Correct.
You got to keep an eye out for those things.
And that's a matter of having good subs, right? They're going to do it.
Good subs and good GC.
I've been in new homes where like piping has become detached. It's there in the
Correct.
attic, but it's detached and nobody caught it.
Shoddy work.
And
it's like,
sometimes,
come on.
and sometimes it's not even detached. Sometimes it's just not insulated. And that's
Yeah.
where it comes from your GC being up in the attic and down in your crawl space. Your GC should be in both those places throughout the process, especially prior to closing,
Yeah.
to make sure that you're getting the quality product, everything's insulated, everything's going to be protected. You're not going to have those issues after closing.
Yeah, you've been all up in the nether regions of my home, and I appreciate
I have
that.
been in the nether regions of your home, bro.
Yeah.
And so, but I'll be in the upper regions too as
All
it
up
goes
in your
through.
crawl space. Dude.
I'll be up in a crawl space.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing, I think it's easy. It's easy to focus on the build, but I think what we focused on this podcast is excavation, foundation,
Yeah.
framing, and we can go right into the attic, where the attic and the crawl space and the dirt work are huge parts of your build.
That's the fundamentals.
Some of the biggest nightmare I've seen in inspections, and I don't know if you can confirm or dispel from what you've seen, is crawl space and attic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's geothermal transfer.
Bad.
That's it.
I've had a deal killed because of a crawl space, lack of ventilation
Yep.
down there. It wasn't designed properly. And then the expense of having to redo that. I called you guys about it.
Yep.
Right? Where there wasn't sufficient ventilation. But I've also seen a simple geothermal transfer of the roofer using nails that were too long.
Yep.
Because it's cold enough outside
Yes.
and then it comes inside
Yes.
and then you get actual condensation and
Yes.
mold
on the
buildup
metal
around the
from
metal.
the thermal transfer.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to have somebody that pays attention
It's
to the little things.
Easy science if you know what you're doing.
Yes, attention to detail.
You're
Because
right.
to me, that should have been caught. And it's an
right.
older home, and it was built well.
You're right.
But that thermal that was eye opening to me. It was like shit.
Yes.
Because it's just a little bit, right? It's just a little bit at a time. But you're talking about huge variations in
It's
temperature.
funny
swing.
where we're talking the contrast or the bifurcation between a general contractor and the inspector. I don't know that the inspector would catch all those either.
Right.
That's where you have a good general
But
contractor.
that's also the difference between you're right, a good GC and a bad GC, or just a mediocre. Where I've been in attic accesses where I'm like, that's not good. Where I take it upon myself to get mold control, and the homeowner doesn't even know, because I went and did it upon myself. We spent the money.
Yeah.
Go up there and spray, all the mold's gone. And it wasn't bad mold, it just was visible. Where I'm going to take it upon myself to spend that extra money on our part to make sure you have a quality product.
Well, it's preventative maintenance versus corrective maintenance.
That's correct.
We've learned from our previous job, man. It's a lot easier to be
Proactive.
preventative. Yeah, be proactive and preventative.
Yes.
That shit translates.
Yep.
It's like if we nip this now.
Yep.
You're
right.
right. And
Like-
just like you said from our old jobs, it's pretty easy to be successful as a general contractor if you have the common core, the basics for, I guess, sales, if you will, is we over communicate, right? Seth, we've told you if there's any problems that come up, there's problems in every build. And
I
it
talk
doesn't-
to you either both of you or at least one of you every single day.
Right, and Seth's only one client for everybody that's listening. We have many clients that live out of town or out of state where we walk up to their property and we're on FaceTime walking through because they want to see progress either daily or weekly, and we try to accommodate that. We try to put ourselves in their shoes of what we would want from our builder, and then generally we bring it up 2 notches because we have a higher expectation of what we expect.
You can ask any or most of the subs that I use where I am very proactive. I'm like, hey, this is how I want it. And they're like, well, that's not normal. I'm like, yeah, but that's how I want it.
It's above standard.
And I say that because just like at a project we're doing right now, instead of doing sonotubes, I did a continuous foundation. And the excavator's like, why do you want it like that? That's not normal. I'm like, I know that's not normal, but I know that that's what works best.
That's what you did on my front porch.
That's what I do on your front porch, and I've done it on every front porch where I do a continuous foundation where I'm not relying on sonotubes. This not only does it make sure that your piers, your beams are landing on the areas that are supposed to land on where they get the support, but it also gives you a good patio. where it's less likely that you're going to get concrete cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So not just the structure, but the decorative, right? And so, and I had this argument. It was an argument with my excavator. I'm like, no, you're going to dig that area, and you're going to prep it this way because this is what I'm doing. Well, that's not normal. You're right, that's not normal because most people take just the standard, which is, when you say standard, that means good enough, right?
Yeah.
And so that's not good enough for me. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want you to deal with it, and it's not going to go on my name.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big deal for me.
I want to touch on a couple other things before we run out of time, because we're not going to get all the way through the process. I think we should probably come back and do it in phases, right?
Yeah.
But while all of this was going on, we were picking out lighting, we were picking out plumbing fixtures,
Yes.
and you guys sent us to good places on all of that. I won't mention any names yet, just in case that changes down the road.
Yep.
But we've been extremely satisfied with the people we've dealt with so far. I'll give one: Homestyle Lighting. Michelle over at Homestyle
They've
Lighting.
all been vetted,
Fantastic.
Seth. All been vetted.
Fantastic. And Keller Supply.
All been vetted.
Yep. They were amazing at walking us through the process. Lighting and plumbing fixture, believe it or not, extremely daunting, especially for a dude. And my wife, because she had to make all the final decisions on that. Not to be sexist, but your wife's going to appreciate that. They've been amazing. And then the cabinet guy, Jed
with
Worthwood
cabinets, fantastic.
Dude, you pushed for him, and at first we were like, it's more, that seems expensive. And then we got a bid from a local company, a very large local company over in Liberty Lake. I'll just say the name. They weren't wrong. They do a lot of homes up here. I'm blanking on the name. Huntwood, right? They do a nice product.
Great product.
Right. But Jed over at Worthwood, man, he's a good dude. I really liked him. He took his time with us. His product is much better, and his price was better.
Wait till you see it installed.
I cannot wait.
Worthwood is fantastic.
Yeah.
The vendors and the subs that we've used so far in your product, which be Creekmaster, which would also be Antrim Concrete, would be Gibbs Lumber, would be Worthwood, would be Summit Creek, all the Blacks, Inc., Rival Roofing, all built. They're all fantastic subs, and Electric. All of those guys, Northland Plumbing, all of those guys are fantastic, and they put out a quality product.
Yeah, I've been
quality stoves. They showed up today.
They installed our fireplace in one day. This thing weighs 700 pounds. It's
They're very
freaking
professional.
enormous. Yep. Yeah, they had 3 dudes out there. They put that in, ran the piping up through the roof, and it's not short. It's probably
it's huge,
20-something feet.
Yeah,
great, fantastic, clean, awesome.
Everybody shows up. They do their job. You don't see any arguing or bickering. They pick up after themselves. They're just great subcontractors.
Yeah,
and vendors.
The process of picking out fixtures, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of decisions to make, and you guys can't make those decisions for the homeowner, right? There's a lot of selections. You got to pick out colors, you got to pick out styles, all of this stuff. So having the right people to sit down with, who can guide you in that process and not be salesy, like Michelle over at Homestyle Lighting. Amazing. She came out and walked the property today with us too, and she looked at everything and was like, I don't know shit about lighting, Yep. I can look at it and be like, it looks good, or doesn't. And
you can't have an antler chandelier in every room of your house. I understand.
Right. It was so freaking helpful, because that's the shit that destroys relationships, right? Like, I can safely say my relationship with my wife is fully intact at this point. So that says it all.
I would say, out of all the houses I've built, it's all
mine's the favorite.
It's all. Well, yours is fantastic, but it's up at the wife.
Yeah, 100%.
We
really
recognize that, and that's why our subs in those general areas are tailored towards them.
Yeah.
Like you stop and you're like, hey, what do you want? Because we know what we want. We want a urinal in the bathroom. We want a beer fridge in the master shower.
Yeah.
Like, we want the stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, hey, that's dumb.
And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Hang on, boys.
Hold on.
Pump the brakes.
I mean, a urinal is cool.
Okay.
I did debate that.
But it's that thing where you get that mutual feedback
Yeah.
from you and her. And I see you do that. You're like, I ask you a question, and you say, hey, let me talk to Kristen.
If it's style related, I'm like, talk to the wife.
But even not style, you still say, let me talk to Kristen.
Yeah.
Because at some point you make the decision, you're gonna have to answer for that, right?
Happy wife, happy life. Keep
Accurate.
them distracted, then you can buy more guns and
Accurate.
shit.
That is it.
This guy?
the
That is it.
100%
I'll tell you
key.
stories about this guy.
That is it.
Sorry, Lindsay.
One purchase hidden in the garage. Not a big deal.
Not your garage, your friend's garage.
Oh,
Next podcast.
you know what? We're pushing over an hour. I know we all got places to be. I'm impressed we didn't actually kill all the whiskey tonight.
No,
I do have
no,
one
that
last
was
thing I
more-
want to bring
Hey,
up. That I
hey,
think
less
business-
than one glass for me.
That was
you can
business
speak
oriented
about
today, boys. Like
the amount of detail in a bid. We over detail. That's probably the wrong terminology. We over share all the information of all the numbers and
Yes.
bids, and I think that's very important.
Huge.
Not all general contractors do that, so make sure if you guys are building with somebody other than us that you know where all your dollars go. And I think, quite
Yeah.
frankly, as a client, you could speak to that.
Can you guys? Oh,
No,
ahead.
that hit on something I wanted to talk about here or ask you guys about because I've heard you say it before, where you're real hesitant on cost per square foot, and some people will take that as, oh, they're just hiding how expensive they are.
Great point.
But
let me talk about that.
Yeah, but that's not accurate.
That is not accurate. So, price per square foot is such a broad question, and here let me give a couple analogies as to why. Let's say for a 3,500 square foot, 4-bed, 3.5 bath, 3-car garage, yes, similar to Seth's build.
Similar.
Let's say we can build that for $750,000 with very minimal finishes. You start adding imported wood for trim. You start adding hardcore doors. You start adding all these extra finishes. You can change your price per square foot from $250,000 to $380,000 to $450,000 just with finishes.
Yep.
So when people are like, "What's your price per square foot?" You can't specifically answer that. And if a builder gives you, "My price per square foot is $250," that's because you're getting all the baseline bullshit that most people don't necessarily want.
Your wife won't be happy with $250 square
100%.
foot.
So
Yeah.
No.
we can't answer
You
that,
will be,
and,
though.
and no builder can answer that unless they've already built that house 15 times and you're okay with the finishes that they have in there.
Well, and that's why I like the idea, because even 14 to 21 days is fast. Because I think about any other project that you're engaged in. Let's say you're building a car from scratch. How many different people you have to reach out to see what this costs, how much for you to put this together, how much you
Yes.
piece all this.
Yes.
You guys are getting a quick turnaround, 14 to 21 days. If you want to know your price per square foot, tell you guys what you want. What sort of finishes do you want? I've heard you discuss that. Well, depends. Do you want, like medium finishes? Are you cool with that? Or
You also got to think that that's before you make your ultimate selections. That's like a base quote.
yeah.
You have not literally gone through all your lighting package. You haven't
Right.
gone through all your tile, granite. You haven't gone through all your finishes. That's when we give you a quote, or anybody gives you a quote, that's typically like your base, base amount. Like, hey, this is what it's going to take for your mid to base level materials, right?
Yeah.
So if you go through and add a bunch of stuff, or you upgrade, obviously your price goes up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what John was saying is like, we can give you a quote, but that's going to give you your like base almost to mid level stuff.
Right.
And if you go through your lighting meeting, and you start picking things, or you go through your house and you're like, you know what, I want this. I want a generator. I want 400 amp. I want dimmers. I want astro timers. And
I was like, this is very
so-
specific.
but if you want certain
Yeah.
things,
Sweating over here.
if you want certain things, it adds to the cost, but that's not part of your base price.
Right.
And so when we give you quotes, it's like, hey, this is what we can build it for. If you up your taste or
Good, better, or best. That's what I always break it
better,
down to.
best.
There's non-negotiables. I can't negotiate dirt work. You either fucking dig it or you don't. I can't negotiate foundation. I can't negotiate framing. I can't
package.
negotiate trusses. I can't negotiate roofing. I can't negotiate siding generally because most people want cement fiber. It's the best shit. I can't negotiate paint. However, I can negotiate your finishes for plumbing, your finishes for electric, your finishes for
Granite.
flooring, granite, countertops, all that shit. So there's non-negotiables and then there's negotiables. And then my pre-meeting with most people that want to build, I go, do you want good, better, or best? And most of the time they're like, I want all three options. No problem. If you want $4,500 for electrical finishes, I'll give you, that's the good. If you want $7,500 or if you want $12,500, I'll give you the good, better, best, and those are your allowances.
but it all adds up.
It does.
It does.
And so,
But that's our job to give you an accurate bid. That's why ours is over detailized so that you know exactly where every dollar goes.
And I'll say, if you want to be happy while you're building your house, is have that stuff pre-selected.
Yes.
So you know your price point, you know your amount, and we can move forward. But if you start making selections through the process, that dollar amount's going to go up, and you're going to be like, that's normal. But if you have things pre-selected, and you know your price, that stress has already come and gone. That price tag has already set in, and you're like, okay, this is what we're paying. But if we make changes along the way, you're going to have some adjustments, and sometimes your selection or your change seems insignificant at the time while you're trying to make the change. But then the price tag comes across, and you're like, why does it look so big? And you're like, because it's Eric.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you're like, no, because you just made a selection that you didn't realize that it had a huge impact on your cost.
But we recognize that. We can dial that back. We can share or meet somewhere in the middle. I can also say that if there's an error on our part, we own that shit. We take that out of our general contractor fees. We own that. What our price is what it is for the build. When we do walkthroughs, and for example, you change from a 200 to a 400 amp.
Yep.
After a contract sign, it's okay. We'll accommodate that shit. It comes through with a change order. We get that shit fixed and go. We talk about the ramifications and price, and we move forward. Also, if there's something where you're like, shit, I don't want to pay $6,000 for a 400 amp. I'd rather scale it back. No problem. We can scale that back down, and we can keep it at 200 amp, and then you can upgrade in the future.
You
But
want 400, bro.
I just want people to know that it shouldn't be daunting. It shouldn't be scary. We can walk you through that. If you don't know your selections at the beginning, we have people for that. That's why they have interior designers. We have an in-house interior designer that can help with all that.
But I'll speak to that because John runs the business and financial aspect of our company. I run the field, and him and I communicate. We see each other maybe 2-3 times a month. That's it. I run the field. We talk every day, like 5 times a day. And I'll be like, hey, I'm over at Seth's house, and this is what I ran into. And he's like, you know what? We're going to eat that cost. We've done that a lot, more than you know, Seth.
I love it.
And we really have.
Keep eating.
I don't.
Keep eating.
I'm just kidding. But Seth, we're real, 100%. If we fuck something up, I own that. We'll pay for it. We'll cover it. No big deal. That's on us, dude. It is a relationship. We're not trying to get rich off Seth Horst and Kristen for their build.
We do that, and you don't even know.
We want you to spread the word that your build was flawless,
Yep.
and that you have the best product.
I need you guys to mess up some shit at my house. All right? Could you do that?
So you need more than a
mess up
shot
some
for
stuff in my house?
Eric,
That'd be great.
we would never mess up anything in your house. Seth, I'm sorry.
And for the record, Seth, we haven't fucked shit up at your house. I don't know what Spencer's talking about.
Exactly.
My advice to people out there, and this took me a little bit of time, but if you're like, hey, I'll do the base now and I'll upgrade it in 2 years, whatever. Like if you can swing it, do it now. It's going to save you a lot of time.
What do you say, Seth? It's just monopoly money.
It's monopoly money at
Dude,
this point, right?
That's why it feels.
I say, hey, Dave and Eric need to get to work so I can make more money and pay for this shit.
Hey,
Dave, get to work.
If I'm giving any advice on somebody out there that's looking at building their lot, number one, call people in the know, like when you're doing your lot selection, everything else. But things that I learned, because I built brand new in 2015, man, put water everywhere. Like, think about where your freaking shop site's going to be.
Yeah.
Think about some other stuff. Run extra power.
Put an extra outlet.
Yeah.
Do whatever you just put an extra
Do it
outlet.
It's so cheap on the front end.
We can help with that. We can help with that.
Yeah, and the subs have been really good. Every sub that we've had come in, I've been there for the walkthrough, and I'm like, hey,
I learned
if this was your house, what would you do? And there's always a little tip there.
And Seth, there's been times where I'm like, I wouldn't do that, bro.
Yeah.
And you're like, but that's what I want. I'm like, okay, but I wouldn't do that. Do what you want.
Yeah.
You know, we will offer our opinion. We'll offer our experience. But if that's what you want, that's what you want.
Glorious.
Yeah.
It's your money, dude. We want to make sure that you're happy, but also we're going to give you realistic expectations. So if you're running a hot tub wire, 300 feet, that's going to be expensive as shit. So maybe we just adjust it, and it's cheaper to add it, closer to the house on some sort of cement.
Here's a pro tip I learned today from the electrician. A bidet toilet seat, it requires its own electrical circuit. Did you know that?
$300.
Yeah. It has to have its own circuit from the panel.
Hang
Wait
on.
a minute.
So hang on. There's
So
good.
only if you have a heated seat.
There's good, There's better, there's best, and then there's the fucking horses.
And
then
there's
there's
the
bidet.
bidet.
Yes.
All right, I'm only putting one in. Thank goodness.
Let's just say that Seth likes a warm bum.
Yeah.
I've never experieed one yet.
Dude, the
I can't wait.
colonoscopy changed you, bro.
Yeah, man.
It changed.
I have a
you
doctor's
little
note. I need it.
bit. You put it on Viva.
Yeah, maybe you're
I learned that. So if you're
Put it on
thinking
the
about
maybe insurance covers
if
that.
you're
shit.
building a house with 7 bathrooms and you're gonna put a bidet in each one, just know you're gonna have 7 separate circuits
Yeah.
for that, and that shit will add up. So there you go. There's your pro tip.
That is
On
cool.
that note,
We can't end on ass talk, dude. I'm sorry.
No.
We got to change
I feel like
that.
we
Yeah.
do a lot.
Yeah,
I'm just
We
saying.
do a lot.
Yeah, especially if Dave's around, dude.
Especially if
Dave's not here.
Yeah.
Get back to work, Dave.
Yeah.
But like,
No, but I definitely wanted to hit that up, man, because a lot of people ask that. Oh, what's the
All
cost
the
per
time.
square
Yep.
per square foot? Cost per square
Yeah.
foot? Cost per square
it's all
foot?
in finishes.
Yes, of course.
It is all.
Like, you just have to realize that it's the same way if you're buying an existing home.
Yeah.
You know, they want to get the best value cost per square foot, but then we walk into the one that's, $200 a square foot, and you're like,
Yeah.
That's why.
I'm gonna
That's
have
why.
to spend $100 a square
Vinyl
foot.
floors throughout.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna have to redo everything. So
Here's
same
what I would say.
building.
If you're thinking about buying and building in North Idaho, one, make sure you're a good ass person. We don't want any more douchebags in
Right
the area.
on.
Two, and if you have
No purple hair.
if you have some ideas of what you want built, kick them to us. We'll tell you what the price will be
Yep.
per square foot. But
Yeah.
we need 14 to 21 days so that we can get you an accurate bid.
Yeah, because we didn't even get in. We need another one, dude. We didn't even get in barn doors because
No.
No, we're gonna
Total
do a
set. We'll
we're
do
gonna do a
another.
follow
We're
up
gonna need
podcast.
5 podcasts
Yeah,
to catch up.
and we might, and that's fine. I wanna work through the whole build process, and we can use my house as a good example because we're living it right now.
And attached to this podcast should be some showcase of your house, right?
Yeah, we can throw some B-roll of our house. We've put a lot of videos out of our house, and there's more coming of like the build process. Hopefully that information is relevant to you guys and useful, because I know we get these questions all the time, like, I want to build. What's it look like? Well, it's hard to tell, and there's not a lot of information out there. So I'm hoping we can provide that information through this platform. And we didn't intend this to be a sales pitch. We're not trying to sales pitch you on anything. We're just trying to provide accurate information like we always do.
yes, and I've said before, man, compete, right? Just include these guys in the competition.
Sure.
Right? Like, go ask around. If you want to go talk to another builder, I mean, go out there and do that. I encourage the same thing with lenders, even though we have some that we work really, really
Yep.
well with. Have a conversation, then decide who fits. Right?
There's been many a times where people are like, that seems like it's pretty reasonable, but I'm going to get a second bid. 30 days later, they're like, when can you start?
Yeah.
And that absolutely.
You're not going to offend us.
Nope.
Nothing different than we would probably
And
do.
it does, honestly, it shouldn't come down to price alone, right? You need to understand the character of the people you're working with, the teams you're working with. There's a
No
lot
different.
there, right? There's the values.
Our meeting,
Quality.
today, our meeting today with the excavator. There's an excavator that wants to start working with John
Yep.
and I, and he said that he built his own home like 5 years ago, and he wakes up every morning, and he sees a handprint on his ceiling. That comes from the GC. That comes from the process,
Yeah.
and he's frustrated every morning. And that's just a weird example, but it's a classic example. I've had that with footprints on the ceiling. Where I'm like,
impressive.
you need to go fix that.
There are reputable builders that you guys have done inspections for in the last 6 months that
Yeah.
Yep.
that plumbing vents or plumbing drains right
Yeah.
into the hall,
Yeah.
right? Vents go right into the roof's leak. There's just shit
You're
that
getting a smell from the
It's bullshit.
drain of your washing machine, your clothes washer. Where's that smell coming from? It's because it's not vented properly.
Right.
It's right down to all the nuts and bolts of the small things that make you comfortable in your new home.
Listen,
it's blatant shit work, honestly.
And it's not good for your sanity, but I know the two of you. And that one comment about like, hey, this wasn't done properly will annoy the living shit out of you until you fix it. So you could get 100 compliments, but the one will be like, God.
Ask my subs. Ask the subs.
If you think we're past ripping a driveway out to make it perfect, it has happened several
That's
times.
exact. You hate losing more than you love winning.
100%.
You fit.
you
Okay,
can
that's a
really-
fit.
It's not uncommon for me to call my sub and be like, hey, this looks like shit. Let's make it right.
Right.
They're like, is it right? Yes. But for me, it looks like shit.
Yes, it passes inspection, bro, but it doesn't
don't want
pass our
that.
doesn't pass our standard. Like
100%.
that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I want those 2 hammer marks on that beam because that will always remind me of that.
Seth, I'm not fixing that for nothing,
No,
bro.
don't.
I'll order you another
Just
beam
make him
and
sign
we'll own the
it.
cost.
Make Spencer sign it. Dude.
Take the trusses off, redo it.
We got you.
It's not even. You can't even see
Yeah.
him. I'm just kidding. All right, let's kill it. Thank you guys,
Yep.
John and Spencer, North Idaho Experience Custom Homes. If you have questions, reach out, hit them up. or I'll put you in contact with them and you guys can ask them directly.
We're both customers. We'll give you a real review.
Yes.
Thanks,
Yeah.
gentlemen.
5 stars.
Yep.
All right. Catch you next time.